What to do with bad customers? Oh, geez, that's today's topic. I don't know who wrote this down. Somebody with bad handwriting. 3063. What to do with bad customers? Well, first, we should define what a bad customer is. Because I'm sure for some of you, there are no bad customers. Anyone who buys from me, here we go, a Christmas card. Cool. I'm sure for some of you, the customer's always right. I don't believe that. That's an insane thing to say. The customer's always right. What if the customer comes in with a machete and chops your head off? Are they still always right? No. I really have an issue with illogical statements that people expect you to understand based on their own personal context to it. I'm not a mind reader. I have no idea what it means to you. I only know what things mean in the world. I only know what their logical interpretation is. That's the whole point of logic, is it's a set of rules we all agree to follow. And if you don't follow those rules, then you're speaking nonsense. 3027 Knott's Berry Farm. So I don't think the customer is always right because obviously they're not. Therefore, the customer is sometimes wrong. So even in cases where the customer is wrong, they still could be a good customer. And so what does that mean then? That means in a case where their wrongness does not incur damages to you, right? I think that's a fair and logical statement. So now, this is Knott's Berry Farm. I have not been there. Went to the Jelly Bean factory instead. And I think they're both in the same area. So now, when does their wrongness, we're going to 2516 next. When does their wrongness cost you money? And I think there's only two instances I can think about. 2516, where are you? One, they waste your time because your time has value associated with it. And two, they destroy, waste, steal, etc. your products, the things you invested in. This is a cool postcard. It's like just a pattern with a Japanese symbol on it. I don't know what it means. LP 102. Matt used his material in Japanese style room. Tatami. I don't know what that says, but screenshot it, put it through Google Lens, and you can tell me what it says. It's a cool postcard. Going to somebody who I think, based on their name, speaks Japanese, or it's a pseudonym. Anyways, they steal from you, they break your stuff, whatever. Here's an instance. A customer who wastes your time by requesting to cancel a lot of their sales. They buy a bunch of things for you and they try to cancel it. Now that could be an act of war, act of aggression. Oh, nice. This person is from Brookline Village, J. Lawton Booksellers. So it's a business. I hope they don't mind me saying their name. I feel like promoting a business is always good, especially if they're, well-known people. That's cool. I know who this is because I used to dabble in rare books. And the name comes up. Franklin Institute of Boston postcards. Two of them outlining, looks like murals in 2729. So if a customer requests to cancel, I pretty much universally deny it. eBay does have your back in this. If you get negative feedback because you decline a cancellation, then it gets removed. You can't hold that against a buyer. It's up to the buyer's discretion to let you cancel or not. Technically, they are requesting a cancel. They're not demanding a cancel. I don't allow cancellations. What are we looking at here? I think here's one of them, and there is the other. I did actually screw up last week, and I sent someone the wrong postcard. They were in a series like this, and I grabbed just a wrong one out of the series because they look so similar. So I have to be very careful about this. All right, 2733 is next. I don't cancel sales. Oh, it's in the same box. Wow. I make them return it. And I make them say it was ordered by mistake or, whatever reason. If they don't say that, I fight it against eBay. I show eBay the message exchange, and I say they're lying about this. I do not think that you have to bend the knee to bad customers. Rosemary Tribble, Paul Tribble, U.S. Congress. That's cool. So this is a political thing. Now we're going to 2715. What do you think? Do you always, if someone requests a cancel, do you always grant it? Are you concerned about fraudulent returns? I think, this is my theory on that, and it's been proven true, that oftentimes returning an item is too much work. The kind of person who buys something and then cancels is pretty much guaranteed to be a piece of shit. Excuse my language. And pieces of shit are usually lazy, and lazy people don't return things even if they want to return them. There's too much effort. These are low effort people, and I don't really respect them. I don't respect their wishes. I don't think that, here we go, Provincetown, I've been there too. I don't think that if you don't have the sense of mind not to buy something, I don't think you should just be able to back out of it with no accountability. 2715, so that's what I say, 3034. For that type of bad customer, you make them return it, and you say, like, what do you expect? You bought this. Like, sorry. I don't think the customer's always right. I think the customer has, they're bound to rules just like you are as a seller. Now the second kind of customer, and then, okay, the next question, do you block them afterwards? Yes, I do block them. I just don't want to deal with people like that. Deal in the sense of I don't want to do business with someone who is like that. Now, what if they are buying things? Here, this is a cool one. Colorado, kind of a cool novelty postcard. What if they're buying things and then lying about the returns? Stealing from you, keeping it, saying they're returning you a box of rocks, etc. I've sold thousands and thousands of things, and the only time 2462 is what's next. The only time I ever ran into this was on Amazon. A lot of return fraud on Amazon, but I do know someone who deals in expensive trading cards, like football cards, baseball cards, expensive trading cards, and they have been scammed out of $5,000, a lot of money. It was actually not $5,000. It was the person who ran the scam was smart enough to buy something that didn't require, maybe they did. Whatever, I'm ruining the story. They bought stuff, said it was not as described, and sent back a box of rocks to the guy. And you know what he had to do? All right, on top, that's nice. He had to file a police report. Because in that case, if it's, the way that you'd run this scam, and you shouldn't do this, don't do this, but I'm just gonna give you a basic overview, is they create multiple accounts. And so there's not a paper trail and that person XYZ has pulled this scam 15 times. They'll make a new account, they'll buy 15 little, bullshit things, and then they will buy a big ticket item, and they'll, even if it's like, whatever, signature delivery, if it's not as described, then eBay is always going to side on the buyer, and they're always going to believe the buyer, especially if the buyer doesn't have a history of making these claims. Then they send back a box of rocks, whatever. So if then you contest that with eBay, eBay makes you file a police report. And so depending on how, I'm sure that there are some cases where the cops just don't show up. But you have to file the police report and then show the proof of the police report to eBay. And then I don't know if they reverse the transaction or if they take the hit and then they put a ding on probably both your accounts to be watched, since, from their perspective, they don't know who's lying at that point. Now, how do you handle that? First of all, I'd block the person immediately. I would write down what their address is to avoid selling to that address, because who knows, they could do it again. And then you can't do much beyond that. You kind of just have to take your lumps, because how else do you, if you're committed to selling on eBay, how else do you avoid that pain, that problem? I don't know. That's kind of why I don't really like selling very expensive things. And if I do, it has to go through eBay certified. Now that brings up a good point. Is this story I'm telling you that occur before the eBay guarantee on trading cards? Or another thing I've seen happen, 2509, is people will sell lots of cards, like a lot of 5 cards with like a fake Michael Jordan rookie in there, because at least at the time, when you would sell lots of trading cards, that would not have the eBay authenticity guarantee. The most expensive thing I've ever sold on eBay, 2226. The most expensive thing I've ever sold on eBay was a Rolex watch, sold for about $6,000, and I was mortified that the buyer would say, oh, I didn't get it, got lost in the mail, isn't the same, yada, 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 not authentic, whatever, and I'd be out $6,000 and a Rolex watch. Well, I only sold this on eBay because of the eBay authenticity guarantee, meaning I sold it to a watch store. I shipped it to a watch store. They checked it off, and then they had they forwarded it to the customer. And that protects you against not as described claims. If you can't do that, it's risky on eBay, because, as much as you want to say people are good, yada, 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 all it takes is one scammer to ruin your year. I mean, you know what I'm saying, to give you a bad time. 2286. Sorry, I got so worked up I kind of forgot where I was. 2226. 3 2s and a 6. Someone who returns things without fraud, and they're always returning things, that's also a block. I mean, listen, I'm sure there are some of you out there who are advocates for buyers, and you have good reasons why you would return things. But if someone returns stuff, I don't want them as a customer. I don't need them as a customer. I've got 250,000 postcards for sale. You're buying one of them. I don't think I need your business. Is that a little bit entitled? I guess it is, but I don't think it's a bad thing to be entitled to your peace of mind. Can you see that I'm looking at the camera more? I'm trying to be more conscious of things I can say to clip for YouTube Shorts. I'm trying. Everything I do, I'm doing for some reason. Mostly because I think I want to see if it hits in terms of viewership. 3045. Some sailboats. Are there more? Customers who always ask questions. How could I forget? When I give my opinion on this, people get so mad. They get so pissed. Because I think that if a buyer asks a lot of questions, they're probably going to be a problem. And then the retort is, well, just do a better job describing your stuff. Well, I'm a buyer and I ask questions, I don't return things. When you ask questions, it's because you have an expectation of how you want things to be. I'm not selling new things, I'm selling used things. And a used thing is so much more likely not to meet your personally fabricated expectations than a new thing. It just doesn't, it's not good. It's again, a higher likelihood to end up wasting my time, to end up costing me more money. Does every buyer who asks questions, are they all time wasters? No. But I think for the sake of streamlining a business, there's certainly a good argument for why you should kick those fools out. 2330. This person bought a whole bunch of postcards about Jimmy Carter and Iran. Specifically, when there were Americans in Iran. I think they were, I don't know, the movie Argo was about it. I don't know the history behind it, sorry. 2330. Here we go. A little history lesson for you. Blindfolded, an American embassy official is paraded before the watching world by Iranian students. And students is in quotation marks. They were very skeptical, I think, of the veracity of their claims about being students. Here's another one. Late yesterday, I canceled a carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran. Excuse me. Whatever. More military stuff. And then 2 postcards from 2742. So if someone's asking me, like, what's the condition of those postcards that I have scanned? Look at the picture. The picture is the condition. Does it come with a frame? Someone asked me that today. Does it come with a frame? No. Why would you think a postcard comes with a frame? Oh, is it because the postcard is a scanned image of a frame? Probably is. And if you can't determine the difference between a scan of a frame and an actual frame, I don't think you're the kind of person I want to do business with. I think that you're so dumb, you're going to end up doing things that cost me more money. Can you tell that I've been selling things long enough to have dealt with lots and lots of idiots and that I'm kind of scared of them? I do whatever I can to avoid them. Jesus. In the streets of Tehran near the embassy, President Jimmy Carter is burned in effigy by Iranian revolutionaries. Was Jimmy Carter that controversial of a president? He's still alive. He's still like building houses for people, I think. I did not know that he was, I guess they had a reason not to like him, but from my understanding, he was not a very offensive character. Unlike me and the way that I explain my relationship with customers who ask innocent questions. Maybe I should take a lesson from Jimmy Carter. Wow, Jimmy Carter with a Hitler mustache in Tehran. I don't know. Well, somebody bought all 4 of those. Thank you. A historian, I don't know. I'm gonna head out now. Thanks for watching. I hope this was entertaining. I hope this empowered you to block problem customers. See you tomorrow.